Let's talk trauma. Hi, I'm Nick. This is 10 Minutes with Nick. Please excuse my garbage can. It's a little bit open, and that's because I am in the middle of cleaning and had the idea for this podcast while I was in the middle of cleaning. That's on me. It's not on you. So, just enjoy it. But why do I bring up trauma today? Well, because it's a very popular thing to do on the internet to talk about your self-diagnosis or your undiagnosed whatever, your undiagnosed trauma, your undiagnosed mental illness. Look, I'm going to come at this conversation from the place of a certified crazy person. On my best days, I can be certified as crazy. On my worst days, best not to certify me on those days. So when we're talking about trauma, what are we talking about? Well, I'm going to talk about specifically, I think, emotional trauma. Physical trauma, that's anything. Like that's if you get a cut on your body while you're outside in your spice garden, a little, tiny cut. That is a trauma to the body. It takes time. It actually presents us, though, with a good example, right? Traumas come in many forms and sizes. You could get a little cut. You could have somebody walk up to you with 9mm school supplies and deliver a big trauma. That's what we call in the movie industry a big boo-boo. But what unites all of these is that they take time to heal. And there's nothing you can do to really help them heal faster. They just heal over time. Some of them leave scars. Now, there are certain things you can do, for example, to keep the wound clean. You can rub some hydrogen peroxide on it. Doctors, I do not care what you think. Do not care, doctors. I use hydrogen peroxide on all of my cuts, and you know what? Never had a cut infected. Entirely anecdotal evidence, no scientific study to back that up, but anecdotally, when I use hydrogen peroxide, nothing gets infected. It's neither here nor there. A physical trauma takes time to heal. An emotional trauma takes time to heal. But not all traumas are created equal. Like we said, our little cut we got in the spice garden, that's just going to take a week or two to heal. It's probably not going to leave a scar. You're probably going to be okay. You get pricked by a rose while you're reciting poetry outside your lady love's window. You're probably going to be okay. Somebody walks up to you with a 9mm school supply and, pops you one. That's going to take a while to heal. You break your leg. That's going to take a while to heal. But what unites all of these traumas is that they will heal over time. It is a very popular theory on the internet to say that emotional traumas sit in sort of a special category. Now again, similar to the physical traumas, there's a lot of things that fall under the category of emotional trauma. You get stood up on a date, your best friend calls you a mean name, your boyfriend or girlfriend says something that you didn't expect and it hurts your feelings. Anytime your feelings are hurt to any extent, that is a trauma. Most of the time, it's a trauma with a little. We're in a place in our society where we have it pretty good. I understand. I get it. Not everybody agrees. There's a lot of people who are struggling, and there's a lot of people who are struggling in various different ways. But generally speaking, at least in the United States, we have things pretty well under control. And when I say generally speaking, again, it is a vast generalization. I understand there's a lot of things we still have to address. But generally speaking, we have things under control. I think we actually have over access to information at this point. Something happens to you, you can go online and search for hours and really find and come to a conclusion and spin yourself up into this sort of self-diagnosing mania and sort of spin yourself up so much that you get to the point where you say to yourself, I have been wounded beyond all measure. Chances are you have. If you actually took some time to reflect, and reflect, it does not mean searching information on the internet. Reflection is taking information in, but also thinking about it, critically thinking about it. And that is perhaps another topic for another day. But that's a skill we're all missing, is the critical thinking element. Information spins us out of control. Critical thinking sifts through the information and comes to our conclusions. Instead, we're sort of allowing the information to come to the conclusion on its own. And maybe that doesn't make sense to you. Let me make it make sense to you. If you have a big pile of information, that can simply be overwhelming on its own. And you may say, wow, this is so overwhelming. I must have, my problem must be so big I can't handle it. Well, maybe not. If you critically thought about it for a minute, you might say to yourself, oh, most of this information actually doesn't apply to me. Let me pull on this and look at it. Ah, okay. My best friend said something mean to me, or I got stood up on a date. My life is not ending, right? You can't allow every single little trauma to be a trauma with a big T, because you will face real issues in your life. And if every little issue spins you out of control, how are you going to handle the big issue? And it's okay. Look, everybody blows things out of proportion. They do. You have a day where you're completely distracted and you can't focus on anything, and you say to yourself, oh my God, I must have ADD. Talk to a doctor before you make that decision. And stop going on the internet and claiming you have ADD or ADHD. There are people who are actually suffering from those conditions, and it's very difficult to, let's put it this way, your self-diagnosis doesn't help at a minimum. It doesn't help the people who actually have the issue at a minimum. And at worst, you're putting a label on yourself that you don't need. You might not have ADD. You might just be a flippity gibbet. Some people are flippity gibbets. It's okay. I'm a bit of a flippity gibbet. I don't have ADD. Some days I, can't focus on a damn thing. And that's okay. It happens. And when it happens, you just take a beat and you reset. Some days you're not going to focus on everything to the best of your ability. That's okay. Get one thing done. And if you say to yourself, well, it's impossible for me to get one thing done, I just simply can't do it, I think you can. I believe in you. If you don't believe in you, I believe in you. Look, the reason this bothers me is because everybody comes on the internet and they scream about this and they scream about that. And they're doing it for the clicks and the content and the views. And it's just annoying at some point. Like, at some point, you gotta just stop. We as a society are deteriorating because we live for just being in front of the camera. I'm an actor, right? Like, people would say to me, Nick, you love being in front of a camera. Why would you judge someone else for loving being in front of a camera? No, I love portraying a character and telling a story to people. I love telling people stories. I love putting a character in front of a camera and letting people enjoy the sort of escapism of watching that character come to life. I don't like people watching me. I like people watching my podcast because I like talking. But I don't like people watching me cook my breakfast. I don't like the get ready with me shtick. Like, I don't want you to watch me get ready in the morning. My morning routine is ridiculous. You'd probably laugh at me. The point is, we are exposing too much of ourselves to the internet right now. We're way too into coming up with the next best thing, and it's becoming it's becoming not so much even content or view farming, but it's becoming trauma farming. We're looking for things in our life that can be trauma that we can spin out about on the internet. Ladies and gents, and I mean that to include all manner of ladies, gents, and everything in between, don't trauma farm. Don't look for reasons in your life to feel slighted or to feel like you've been attacked. Because I guarantee you, if you look for it, it's there, but chances are it's not that bad. And hey, if you go to a doctor and you do have a mental illness, ignore everything I just said. Because, I'm not a doctor. I'm not trying to diagnose you. I'm just trying to make a point on the internet. And I may have made it. I don't know if I made it. But either way, this is only a 10-minute podcast. I'm out of time. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to like and subscribe if you liked what I said, or you're not. That's up to you. But either way, I'm Nick. This is 10 Minutes with Nick. Have a great day.